Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now this video is about monocoque bike construction and is it really worth having a frame that is really a true monocoque? And you might say, well actually my carbon bike's a monocoque, it's made of carbon. Well, monocoque just means basically one shell, and not many carbon bikes are made in one mould, front triangle and rear triangle. Carbon bikes are made with a front triangle mould and then they're bonded somewhere around here by the seat stay cluster and the chainstays. They actually have kind of lap joints with epoxy and then wrapped with carbon, and it does add a little bit of weight because you've got the extra wall thickness from the overlap. The extra weight is so small, but it is there, so where you've got the overlapping join, you've got a lot stiffer area there to the adjacent parts, and that can change the stress gradient through the part as the part deflects and bends. Overall it's not really a problem. You don't see that many carbon bikes failing at these epoxy joins. They're normally quite overbuilt and the overwrap of carbon is kind of like feathered away, so that deals with the strain gradient or the stress gradient problem. So you don't often see them fail there. It's just more of a kind of interesting experiment to see a full monocoque construction. The eagle-eyed amongst you will probably say it looks like a frame called an FM066, which is an open mould frame. It isn't that. This is a completely different frame to that one, and it is a full monocoque construction. This bike is made in one mould, just like the graphic you'll see here. So the rear triangle, chainstay, seat stays are all made in the same mould. So tolerance wise, this frame should be pretty good in terms of front and rear wheel alignment. I haven't checked it yet. This is going to be a project that I'm going to build up over the next couple of months. I'm looking for a group set for it at the moment. Probably just going to stick a fairly basic 105 group set on there just to test the frame. If anyone's got one lying around that they want to send me, please do. Just standard rim brake 105 will do the job. This frame is exceptionally light in my size. It's a 58. Was kind of between a 56 and a 58, so it's a little bit small for me, which is why I've got quite a fair amount of seat posts sticking out. That's set at my seat height. But no, I mean, can I envisage any ride quality difference in the monocoque frame? To be honest, no. I'm not going to say I can feel a difference. Is it worth it? Probably not. Doing a monocoque construction, is it worth it for the brand? I would say maybe yes, because you've got one less process in the construction of the bike. You don't have to have a separate jig for gluing. You don't have that extra QC process of gluing the joins and then checking the joins. You can pretty much take the bike out of the mould. Now, is that a problem? Well, when you take things out of carbon moulds, they do often warp and shrink and then go out of alignment. And one of the good things about having the rear triangle fixed on afterwards is that when everything's cured, you then have a chance to realign something in a different jig. If the frame or the front triangle or rear triangle is slightly out, you can then correct that in the gluing jig, which you don't get that opportunity with this. So with a full monocoque bike like this, you have to make sure it comes out of the tool dead straight, because there's no way to correct it. Now quickly, just touching upon what I said before about demoulding and taking out the mould and shrinkage, in that when you're making a full monocoque bike, you really don't have any chance to correct any misalignment. The bike frame 3D has to be pretty symmetrical down the center plane of the bike. If you're going to make very complex asymmetric shapes, you're really going to suffer from kind of ununiform shrinkage, and when it cools and comes out the mould. When I first got this, I thought, well, that's funny, because on this PF86 bottom bracket, you know, it's normally common to have that lip on the drive side, which allows the chain to drop onto that without chewing up the frame. And that's one of the good things about PF86, is that little protruding lip that you often see on the drive side is there to protect the frame if the chain drops off the inner ring. And originally I thought, well, why have they got that? Why have they got that on the non-drive side as well? Why haven't they just pushed the down tube out to the outside of that shell for a bit of extra stiffness? And it's just occurred to me it's probably to do with, you know, demoulding and keeping everything pretty symmetric for when it comes out of the mould, so they don't have the thing warping when it cools, because like I said, there's no chance to correct that when it comes out of the mould. If it's not straight, it goes in the bin. So that's probably why they've done that. And the bike frame, you know, the form is pretty simple actually. Now this bike's just been sent with a raw finish. It's basically unpainted, and it's got a little bit of black paint on it, I think, in places, but overall the carbon looks really good. It's got a, you know, a kind of cable port there for mechanical outers, and that looks like some sort of glass filled or carbon filled nylon plastic part, which is pretty hard. That's quite nice. In total, the bike, you know, the quality looks pretty good. standard 27.2 seat post. What I like about this, these are just some basic Shimano cranks, and this is a PF86 I've got in there. I've just pushed in an old PF86 I had lying around, and they spin very nice, and still a fair amount of tyre clearance in there as well. So as a frame goes, and simplicity, you know I like simple stuff, simplicity. Often the best engineering solutions are simple. This is quite a nice frame actually. It does kind of look super spindly, and it probably isn't the stiffest, but it should build into a really comfy bike because it looks quite flexy because it's super light. But yeah, that's it. Can I expect to feel any ride quality differences with Monocoque? No. Is it going to be helpful in terms of weight? Yes. Does it help the brand do QC? I would say yes and no. I'll get it built up and we'll do a full review on it. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed that little chat about Monocoque construction. I'll keep you updated on the build across the social media channels, Instagram, YouTube, blah blah blah. Cheers, and see you in the next one.